Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here, and today we're going to be looking at using our active reading strategies to begin to understand an article about designing wheelchairs. And right off the bat, I know this article might not sound like it's going to help us with our space pod problem, but Dr. Gonzalez has sent it to us to help us understand what's going on with the thruster force and how the different thruster forces could have affected our pod in different ways. So, though it's not directly related to it, this article is going to help us decipher what's going on up in space. So, we're going to be using our active reading skills to annotate our thinking. And we've done this in the past. We know when we annotate our thinking, we need to make connections, ask questions. And today we're going to talk about asking deeper questions and identify key ideas and phrases, all so we can understand what's going on with our space pod. So, today we're going to talk about asking deeper questions. And this is an important strategy so that we can connect our understanding of what's going on in the article to ourselves and what's going on throughout the article. So, if we're reading the article and we start going into the very first paragraph related to these wheelchairs, and we identify that people who use the wheelchairs come in different shapes and sizes, children's and adults, tall, short, big, and small. And so do the wheelchairs they use. Some wheelchairs have motors and others are operated by hand. So someone might read this first section and ask the question, why? Something to this the effect of why do they make different wheelchairs like this? And though this is a good question, it's not a very deep question. And we got to ask ourselves, does this question that we just asked, does this help us connect to different ideas within the article or help us to understand what the article is focusing on? And though in our own minds, we might be thinking, well, yeah, it does. The question itself doesn't. It's not a very deep question. So a deeper question might mean taking these simple questions, these whys and these hows, and adding more focus in order to connect what the article is saying and what the article is about. So we might take that very simple how or why question and revise it to help us focus on the topic of designing wheelchairs, because that's what our article is about, and the different activities they're needed for. So instead of asking why, we might ask, how are the differences uh, designed to help make wheelchairs better for each activity? So notice we're pulling in a few things. Number one, we're pulling in some information from the text about what we're designing and what we're focusing on. We're also pulling in some information about what the designs will be focusing on, these different activities. So we're pulling in more information found within the article, and we're pulling in more information about what we know we're about to read to really ask that deeper question, focusing on making connections within the article and what it's all about. So today, as we're annotating, we're going to be making connections with our personal lives. We're going to be asking those deeper questions. Go beyond the simple what, why, how, where, when, those sort of things. Ask deeper questions that make connections within the article, and then identify those key ideas and phrases. As we do these things, it's going to be easier to make connections and ask deeper questions. When we get done with the entire article, we're going to have to take all the connections, questions, and key phrases and ideas that we highlighted, and we're going to be using them to help us answer this big question. How do scientists use force, mass, and velocity to design different wheelchairs? Because that's what the topic and the title of our article is about. So, kind of looking to summarize not only what the article is about, but thinking about how scientists use these ideas to design different wheelchairs. So, dive into the article, annotate our three different using our three different strategies, and be ready to answer our question at the very end. If you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, good luck.